The Quebec-Vermont frontier extends 140 kilometers. It is an international boundary marked by agricultural lands, forests, and the waters of Lake Champlain. It is located near, but not on the 45th parallel, and is steeped in legend and lore. The first surveyors were tasked with marking the parallel between 1771 and 1774. But they were not entirely accurate, often more than a kilometer off target. Some say it was primitive tools, others the harsh landscape. Local legend says they were simply drunk on whiskey.
Currently, I am in the United States of America. That house is in Canada.
I'm only around 90 miles southeast of Montreal. Derby Line is in the very northern portion of Vermont.
Stanstead, Quebec, and Derby Line, Vermont have coexisted for centuries, two of the world's most unique frontier towns.
In about 75 places along the border, there are buildings that stand in both countries.
If those rocks are the border, this house is technically in both Canada and the US.
Well, my old apartment, the line runs through that building, runs through the kitchen. It has two addresses, so there's an American address and a Canadian address.
How does it feel to live in a house divided like this between two countries?
I never really think it is divided between two countries.
This has always been one community, one region. You share the same water, share the same sewer. It's in stark contrast to the southern border, which has a wall.
Fence right there, and that's the Canadian border.
Oh, that's way closer. So those houses across it are Canada.
No, and this is the other cool thing, the factory that is both in the United States and Canada.
Really?
The line cuts right through the factory here. The power is imported from Canada to run it. That truck is now straddling the line.
And this is Canusa Avenue, so we are technically in the US on this side.
Correct.
But those cars are in Canada.
That is correct.
Wow.
Two countries on one street.
I'm not allowed to cross this road because this is the town of Stanstead, Canada. On the other side of the street is Derby Line, USA, and the border between the two countries runs right down this.
This is certainly a most unusual kind of location. And the people who live on the right live in the United States, and people who live on the left live in Canada. And they're across the street neighbors.
So you can see the Harris signs right here.
And then there'll be Canadian Prime Minister signs.
Yeah.
Wow. What a funky, unique, peculiar border, but a beautiful town.
Residents here cross the border for employment and all types of services. But there is one building directly on the line that citizens of both countries can enter freely.
The Haskell Library and Opera House are just about as international as you can get. It sits right on the boundary line. You enter from the United States and get your books in Canada. In the Opera House on the second floor, the stage is in Canada, and most of the audience sits in the United States.
The building is more than a century old, constructed and dedicated as a gift.
Martha Stewart Haskell, she did it on purpose because she wanted it to be a friendly gift for both communities.
We were built in 1904 and we've been in continuous operation since then, so in 120 years. And we're the only public building that serves both Canada and the USA.
But with the building's main entrance located solely in America, there are unique challenges.
Ever since 9/11, the ability to just walk back and forth without any problems across the border has changed, needless to say. The Canadians can still walk on the sidewalk and come into the facility without using their passport.
David, you just came over from the Canadian side.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
How's the weather over there?
Same as here.
I noticed you wanted to stay off the street and on the sidewalk here. Why is that?
Well, because here I'm on the territory of the library.
Have you ever gone out in the street just to harass these guys? Hey, I'm in America. Nothing like that?
No, I wouldn't do that. No.
But for visitors, the library's most notable feature is the dividing line running directly through the building.
Right in here, you can see the line that goes through.
Now we're inside the library and you can see the line.
Hello. Bonjour. We do that every day, all day long, switching from French to English.
On the craft table, right through, so you could come in here and craft in the United States and Canada at the same time.
My feet are in Canada, my head is in the United States.
The theater is set on the building's 4th floor. the world's only truly international opera house.
And so the border is somewhere just in the...
Oh, it's not somewhere.
Oh, there's
it's right here.
It's right here. Okay.
All right, so I am in the United States right now, and I have officially just crossed my first border without going through customs.
Oh, that's really cool.
And they set up the flags on both sides.
The line runs straight through the audience.
Oh, so this is the border right here.
Yeah. So
I just crossed over it. Whoever sits in this chair, their feet are in Canada as they watch.
Yeah, there used to be an old joke. Depending where you're seating, you might have one cheek over the line.
Is this the border?
That's the border. It goes through everywhere.
Oh, so this chair you can sit in and watch a movie in Canada and the United States.
Yeah.
I currently have one foot in Canada and one in the United States, don't I?
That's right. Do you have your passport?
I actually do.
Oh, well, you don't need it once you're in the building.
Oh, I'm okay?
You're okay.
Any tensions between Canadians and United States on the border here?
Not that I know of.
You realize if there was war declared between the two countries, you would be ground zero.
The U.S. is now limiting Canadian access to the iconic Haskell Free Library and Opera House.
An historic symbol of cooperation between the U.S. and Canada may have fallen victim to sour economic and political relations. U.S. authorities have denied Canadian access to a library in Vermont that sits on the border with Quebec.
For more than 100 years, the front doors to the historic Haskell Free Library and Opera House have been open to Canadians without them having to go through an official border crossing station.
Where crews are standing over there is Canada, and if anyone from Canada wants to come to the library, they must walk along this sidewalk. They cannot step off of the sidewalk, and they must enter through this front door here.
But now the Trump administration is changing the rules, issuing an order that Canadians can no longer enter the library through these designated entrances on the Vermont side of the border.
There's no word. I can't believe what these people are doing. They don't know what they're doing.
It just feels like a family being torn apart.
This has been an institution for decades. What the U.S. is doing is wrong. I'm embarrassed.
I'm upset. I've been coming to this library for almost 70 years.
It's very emotional. I never thought, there's a lot of things these days that we never thought we would see. That's one of them.
I mean, we received emails from people all over the United States saying that they are sorry about that, that they are ashamed.
At the end of January, the U.S. Secretary of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, visited this spot and did something that left staff here shaken.
When she was on the U.S. side, she was saying USA, number one country. And when she was on the Canadian side, 51st state.
Poor Canada. They're awesome the way they are. Well, of course you don't want to be the 51st state. My gosh.
I think he's picking on the wrong country because we're not going to back down to a big bully that doesn't know anything.
Dismayed by the news, the people of Stanstead are calling for donations to fund the construction of a Canadian side access door to the library.
We do have a back door in the other side of the building on the Canadian side, and so we'll be using that door.
So the new Canadian door will actually enter into the library through the stacks.
This emergency door on the Canadian side transforming into a new entrance,
ensuring people from both sides of the border like Chris and Pauline can continue coming together.
The message is this.
No matter what this administration does, it will not change the fact that Stanstead and Derby Line are partners and friends forever. Too many reasons to cherish our relationship, and it's not one man that will change that.
If it wasn't for the border itself, you wouldn't know the difference between Stanstead and Derby Line.